Hello once again, Sagittarius. It's February 2015. The year is already starting to move quickly, as it has been in the recent past. And excuse me, fumbling around here with the technology. Um, some important events taking place throughout um, this month, the second month of 2015. And a lucky event in the heavens with the full moon taking place on the 4th, there in your ninth sector, which is the zone of past karma, and what we generally consider very good fortune. Now, what augments that even further is that your ruling planet, Jupiter, just happens to be, pardon me, in this ninth house, and the moon for you has something to do with other people's resources, money, wills, legacies, debts, all that sort of unearned income could start to come to light now. Stuff you may not have expected. And this is, to a greater extent, based upon your good karma, your good actions, your words and your thoughts in the past. So enjoy that, and that comes to fullness on the 4th. Now, just leading up to that, we see the combined influence of Venus and Neptune. These take place in their transit with Mars in the 4th sector of your horoscope, having to do with your inner peace of mind and contentment. So it's interesting that we juxtapose these two sets of planetary patterns, because one is showing luck, the other is showing a focus on whether or not you can find peace of mind and happiness in yourself. So I think you're well aware that just because you have money, make it, acquire power and wealth and success, that's no guarantee that you're going to be happy. So there's two sets of activities, if I could call them that, during February. And that first one, of course, means that you can revel in the good karma, the fruits of your past action, but you need to also find that happiness within yourself that's not dependent on these external gifts of life, if I could call them that. And that may start to create some problems that we see around the 4th and the 11th, when Mars is in the right angle to Sun. That could present you with some challenges in your relationships. It can present you with problems also in terms of your vitality and the fact that you may not feel particularly well. You may even be injury prone, so take care during that transit. That has to do with vehicles as well, so I'd be cautioning you to make sure you have enough time at your disposal when you're traveling to different places, and you listen to other people and don't react too strongly with those who have a different opinion to you. Amidst that, we do have that extraordinary triangular aspect from that 9th house Jupiter on the 5th. It actually builds up to that. Generally throughout the month, most of you born under the sign of Scorpio are going to feel some good effects from this 9th house planet. Again, all tied in with your reasonably good karma. One of the problem areas that you've had up until and will have up until the 12th is that retrograde Mercury. We hear about that a lot. For you, Mercury is specifically related to your long-term relationships. That can be marriage, de facto, or even business partnerships. The retrogression, especially taking place in your 3rd house of communication, short journeys, day-to-day communications, that sort of and contractual obligations and agreements. There may have been some problems associated there, lack of understanding, miscommunication, which after that date, the 12th, can start to settle for you. That's a time when any of those contracts can move ahead in a positive fashion. The position of the Sun, its movement to the 4th sector of your domestics, property, vehicles, inner happiness, etc., should bring you some benefits there. The completion of some projects, Again, Sun is ruling your 9th house. We see that 9th house theme very, very strong for Sagittarians. And the 9th house, for those of you who aren't aware, is the natural direction for your sun sign. The Sun is, of course, a very bright spiritual planet. It's very attractive, it's very dynamic, and shining there in your 4th sector of family and domestics. That happens exactly on the same date, just a few hours earlier. We see the new moon in Aquarius, the 3rd house. So a whole new way in which you communicate, the way you think even, and the way you look at people, I think is another theme that we can safely say is part of your destiny at this time, Sagittarius. The new moon, of course, relates to the commencement of new cycles, new phases in your life. And finding it here in this specific area is an important one, because communication is everything. By the way, this has to do with your siblings. So for those of you and neighbours, so for those of you who've maybe been unplugged or disconnected from those sort of people, expect an uplift in those departments of your life. And just repeating, that occurs after the new moon of the 19th and the transit of Sun to the 4th sector of your horoscope, the sign of Pisces, on the 19th of February. The 5th house transit of Mars along with Venus on the 20th and 21st, and then the conjunction of these two planets in that 5th house of Aries is extraordinarily dynamic. This is, again, along with the 9th house, one of the better sectors of your horoscope, showing sports, music, fun, games, and let's not forget love affairs. So these are all the areas that can be triggered by these vitally important transits. Mind you, the conjunction of Venus and Mars can be very impulsive, especially for the fire signs such as you. So just pace yourself when you fall madly in love at first sight later in the month in February. Pardon me. The hard aspect of the Sun to Saturn, showing the good energy you had in this 4th sector, in the first part of that transit, could sort of get bogged down with some unexpected demands. And if we look where Saturn is in the Sun sign now, early in the sign of Sagittarius, tells me very, very clearly that the demands could be actually from you. It's you yourself that have created the additional responsibilities that you may now be trying to fight against. So leading up to that, it's important to pace yourself and be mindful of what you can and you can't do, especially towards the latter part of the month. Venus and Mars enter into a favourable aspect to that Saturn. So I don't see this as a long-lasting transit, maybe 5 or 6 days, and then you have these favourable aspects. That's on the 24th, then the 25th and 26th of Venus-Mars, favourable aspects to Saturn, soften the whole impact of that earlier Sun-Saturn combination. So that could actually indicate a resolution, a coming to terms with other members of the family who may have differing opinions. The final aspect I'd like to talk about is that very idealistic Sun and Venus combination in the 4th house. You can create something beautiful just now. It's a time when you want to share some of your ideals with friends and family. For those of you that are creative, you may be doing some renovations, and this is a time when you can share that with the people that you consider to be close and worthy of your gifts. So do take care. Good luck for the next month. I hope you'll join me here again in March. Don't forget to drop in on my website, astrology.com.au, for the daily, monthly and yearly readings, a more detailed analysis there for you Sagittarius, along with lots of free readings. And then don't forget too, for those of you that want the more personal services we have with myself and some of the other really gifted astrologers that I'm fortunate to have the company of. Till next month, take care. Bye-bye.